Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1912C, and today's date is July 9th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Storm Has Arrived. Now it's the Patriots' turn. It's happening. Let's get right into Q's posts. Now, before I get started, I just want to let everyone know there's three reports. There's A, B, and C. A is the economic report, B is political, geopolitical, C are Q's posts. These are brand new posts that Q has been posting yesterday and today. So if you haven't seen the other two reports, go ahead and listen to those. So let's get started. Let's go to post 3353. Q says, what happens when those who held positions of power and influence no longer pull the strings? What happens when blackmail no longer works? Do you become a liability? Then gave us three letters with arrows. H, pointing to C, comma D, comma I, Q. So Epstein's arrest and indictment is a major marker. Epstein has a lot of information on very powerful people. When this information is out in the public arena, it will destroy the following: their careers, their reputation. It will call into question everything they've done. It will expose their corruption, crimes, and treasonous activities. Blackmail was used to control people, which means pics, logs, notes, payments, or should we call them donations, and files were created on each of these people. Q asked, what happens when those who held positions of power and influence no longer pull the strings? For many of these people, it will not be safe to walk down the street. Post 3354. And Anon put up a picture, and it looks like maybe Trump with an umbrella facing a flag, and it says, the storm has arrived. Under this, Q posted the following. Just because the public is unaware of something does not mean nothing is happening. Mueller hearing a tactic meant to delay H report. Horowitz report. Horowitz report release necessary prior to Comey release. H plus C equals D, D-class. D-class, the start of the mass awakening. White House, ABC, state, foreign. Post D-class comes many indictments. When blackmail no longer holds due to loss of senior level key government positions and the 11th hour testimony, those previously protected become prey. Key witnesses, they sought for questioning by Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz, have come forward at the 11th hour. We know this because we mentioned it, and we do believe because all signs point to Kavalak. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, if we go back to the other post, 3353, we had H, which is Horowitz, C, which is Comey, D is D-class, and I is indictments. Let me continue with post 3354. Hunters become the hunted. God wins. Q. Post 3355. And Anon says, welcome back, Q. So good to see you. Are you returning publicly again now? Q says, the time has come to re-enter the public domain. Post 3356. Q gives us a picture, and this picture is going back in time, and we've shown this before in the reports of Bill Clinton next to and hugging Ray Chandler. And below this, it says Epstein's plane, who is she, follow friends, friendly to others, open source, Q. Q named the pic Chatter Health BC. There was chatter that Bill and Hillary's health is deteriorating right now. And we'll get into that just a little bit later. Post 3357. Q once again gives us the post of Bill Clinton and many others in the water and says, will the rich and powerful influence the court to prevent the unsealing? That's the Epstein unsealing of all the records. Follow the attorney who took the pic, who was located behind the camera. Sex trafficking is real. And Q continues with the post, why is Epstein spending $29 million to bury the tunnels underneath his temple on Epstein Island? Problem, phones were allowed in. These people are stupid. Now below this, it says H and then Q. So Q asked the question, who took the pics. So the pic that we're looking at with Bill Clinton has Tony Podesta, Jordan Nader, which is Mueller's star witness, Ricardo Shees, Rolando Gonzalez Bunster, and they're partying at an exclusive resort which is near Epstein Island. Who took the pic? Well, from H, most likely it is Hillary Clinton who took this picture. Post 3358. Q gives us a Twitter link, and this is from Courageous Chris. And it says, 6 hours ago on PBS NewsHour DA for the SDNY, Mr. Berman said that Jeffrey Epstein arrest, what I'll say is we were assisted with some excellent investigative journalists. So SDNY, Mr. Berman, just thanked excellent investigative journalists who assisted them, and they were able to arrest Epstein. All the research paid off. As Q would say, we are the news now. Post 3359. And Anon took a pic of a balcony with the symbol of Q and the American flag. The file name says, where we go one, where we go all, Florida. And Q replied, where we go one, we go all. So it looks like the picture was taken in Florida, and Q replied to this. Post 3360. Q is talking about the Inspector General report, and Q circled this on page 294. Hillary Clinton and Foundation Crime Against Children. And then Q refers us to post 2872, and it says Coleman told us that he kept regularly took notes in a journal. Coleman's notes from October 4th contain the following entry: Hillary Clinton and Foundation Crimes Against Children. And then Q says it again. I think Q wants us to remember this, and this is exactly what Q says. Worth remembering. Going forward, remember this. Hillary Clinton and Foundation Crime Against Children. Post 3362 gave us a link to Fox News, and it says billionaire sex offender Epstein once claimed he co-founded Clinton Foundation. Let me read a little part of this article here. Attorneys for convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein touted his close friendship with Bill Clinton and even claimed the billionaire helped start Clinton's controversial family foundation in a 2007 letter aimed at boosting his image during plea negotiation. Epstein also supported the Clinton Foundation financially, but that was not made public until 2 years ago when a whistleblower released the names of the super rich, including Epstein, who held Swiss accounts at the HSBC Bank. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, which obtained the data from the whistleblower, documented $81 million being routed from HSBC's Swiss account to the Clinton Foundation, including money from Epstein. Epstein had various accounts totaling $3.5 million. The investigative journalist group revealed in 2006 directed $25,000 to the Clinton Foundation. Q says, connect the dots. Epstein, Clinton's, not that difficult to connect those dots. Q then gives us a picture once again of Bill Clinton and Rachel Handler and gives us a Twitter link to Washington Times. And it says, just in, Bill Clinton issues statement on Jeffrey Epstein. And it says, former President Bill Clinton claimed in a statement Monday that he knows nothing about the pedophilia charges against financier Jeffrey Epstein. The statement downplayed the extent of Mr. Clinton's ties to the accused pedophile and said the trips had been tied to work with Clinton Foundation. Remember, connect the dots. Staff supporters of the foundation and a Secret Service detail traveled on every leg of every trip. He had one meeting with Epstein in his Harlem office in 2002 and around the same time made one brief visit to Epstein's New York apartment with a staff member and his security detail. He's not spoken to Epstein in well over a decade, and he's never been to Little St. James Island, Epstein's ranch in New Mexico, or his residence in Florida. Seems a little hard to believe. Let's continue with Q's post here. Does this single picture of Bill Clinton on Epstein's plane with Rachel Chandler refute his entire statement? I would say yes. Fake news disinformation campaign failing. You are the news now. Together, you are strong. Now, very interestingly, Conchita Sarnoff, the author of Trafficking on the Jeffrey Epstein case, she reported, and she dropped this bomb, that almost every time that Clinton was on the plane via the pilot logs, there were underage girls on the plane. Remember, he flew this plane 27 times. and many times the Secret Service did not accompany him. She also said Bill Clinton is lying about his limited contact with Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, who has all the information? The Patriots. Remember, there's been chatter about Bill and Hillary's health deteriorating. Watch for those who all of a sudden become seriously ill. This is an indicator that the hunters are moving in quickly on the hunted. Why would they say their health is deteriorating? Well, that brings us back to McCain. They're going to have a choice: go on trial or leave this earth. And I think many of them are going to choose leave this earth, because I don't believe they want to go on trial, or they'll just do it on their own. And that's most likely why there's going to be a suicide watch. Why is there going to be a suicide watch? Why are people saying that, I'm becoming ill now, or I have a serious disease, or something like that? Because a New York Federal Appeals Court ordered the unsealing of up to 2,000 pages of judicial documents that are expected to show evidence relating to whether New York financier Jeffrey Epstein was recruiting underage girls and young women as part of an international sex trafficking operation. And what else do you think it's going to reveal? A lot more. Post 3364, and Anon put up a pic of the Punisher. Below this Q says, what happens when Loretta Lynch can no longer provide legal cover for the Clintons? Tarmac meetings end. All the blocks have been removed. The Punisher is standing by and ready. Post 3365, and Anon put up a pic of Q on a wall. Under this it says, pain. Post 3366, Q gives us Les Wexner, founder of Victoria's Secret. Connect the dots. Wexner is only known client of Epstein. In April, a woman accused Epstein of sexually assaulting her at Wexner's home in the 90s. Wexner is involved. It seems that Wexner finances Epstein. Everyone was always wondering where Epstein gets all of his money. Post 3367. This is coming from Kit Laybourne. Worked for MTV, Nickelodeon, Children's Television Workshop, and Nick Jr. Geraldine Laybourne created Nickelodeon. In 96, became the president of Disney. Both are on the board of KinderCare, and both are on the Epstein flight logs. Shows a picture, shows the flight logs. Under this it says, how deep is this rabbit hole? Hashtag Mad Hatter. This hole is very deep. This is going to expose many, many people. It's going to expose Hollywood actors, actresses, princes, queens, kings, politicians, and many, many more wealthy individuals. You name it, they're all going to be in this entire investigation. Post 3368 shows a picture of all the movie posters now playing in July. Pedogate, Panic in D.C., Pfizergate. That just explains it all right there. You're watching a show, and everyone is panicking. Post 3369 gave us a Twitter link to Stacey I, and it says, attention mainstream media. We know you wish to connect Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, but you will discover that Trump is not in the flight log to Epstein's Little James Lolita Island, not even once. Trump hitched a ride from Daytona Beach to New York City with Epstein's son once. Upon learning that Epstein had assaulted a 14-year-old daughter of an employee, Trump kicked Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago golf club and banned him from life. At Epstein's first arrest, Trump voluntarily went to the police to give a statement. The police commented that Trump could not have been more forthcoming. Now, under this Q says, the job of the media, 90% owned by 6 corporations, is not to inform the public of the truth using facts, but to con the public using falsehoods and opinions to paint a narrative that is designed to keep the sheep in line in order to maintain control and regain power. People Awake and United ends their control. Brainwashing. We need to remember that the mainstream media, they're trying to link Trump to Epstein. We see this. Anons were ready for this and pushed back, but this actually helped the Patriots because Epstein was an unknown. Epstein dealt with high-level actors, actresses, and politicians. He had an island. These people had encounters with underage girls or boys. The island is evil. The public is now informed, and the connection between Epstein and Trump will fade away, just like the Russian collusion. Brilliant. This was planned from the beginning. Post 3370. Anon says, you guys dropping real vids along with indictments helping a lot with overcoming that? Q says, Sessions began the Epstein investigation. When that is revealed, those who doubted may see the light. The wheels of justice turn slow, but when they turn, they are powerful. 10 times speed now underway. We're back online. Pelosi attempted to block Q. Very interesting. Post 3371. Anon gives us a picture of Jeff Sessions. And within this picture, there's a whole thing done by J.R. Dunn, and it's underlined with red marker, and it says, examination of political corruption as it is actually practiced in the halls of Congress. In his investigation, Schweitzer found one single member of Congress against whom no allegations could be held, who had never taken a dime that was not his, and never cut any backroom deals, had never, simply put, played the game. The individual was Jeff Sessions. Under this, it says, sometimes you need to take one for the team publicly before you are vindicated as a hero. So everything you see Trump saying about Sessions, this is part of the show. And it is playing out. Post 3372. Q says, Flynn news coming. Remember, Flynn has a new attorney, Sidney Powell. And Powell is looking into everything. Actually, there's an article from Sarah Carter. It says Michael Flynn's new brief shines sunlight on prosecutors' tactics. Well, we'll be getting to this a little bit later. Post 3373. Q says surveillance of Sarah Carter and John Solomon terminated. Sleep well. What does that mean? Well, Q lets us know in a little bit. Post 3374. And Anon says, Hannity just dropped the pen again using a very artificial tone. Follow the pen. Hannity was talking directly to us. Q says, haven't you figured it out by now? Hannity, John Solomon, Sarah Carter have an inside source. I wonder who that could be. Post 3375. And Anon says, how the heck were they allowed to do this long? Holy smokes. CIA, FBI. Under this, Q says, disguised under the leaker target program. Now remember, in the previous post, Q says that Sarah Carter, John Solomon, they can sleep well tonight. Well, they were under white hat protection. They were being surveilled under the guise of the leaker target investigation while getting all the scoops. The surveillance has now been terminated. They can all sleep well. Post 3376. And Anon gives us all these pictures and says the first placeholder. Now, why did this individual say this? Because there was a former FBI, and he said the indictment of Jeffrey Epstein is a placeholder. Expect dozens more charges in near future. Q says placeholders population start August 2019. So here we go. It is happening. Post 3377. It looks like the president decided to chime in. We are with you, Q+, and Q+ means it's the president. Post 3378. And Anon puts up a pic of an American flag with a tank, and it says, for God and country. Under this, the president answered, for humanity, Q+. Post 3379 goes, Q is bringing us all the way back to August 15, 2018, post 1896, and this is Gloria Vanderbilt. She died June 17th, 2019, shows us a picture, tells us to look below the hand at the necklace, and it says, do you find it interesting that everything discussed in the past is somehow making news as of late? Q. Post 3380. gives us everything from post 3379, and at the bottom gives us another picture of a photo of Gloria Vanderbilt with children Anderson Cooper and Carter Cooper under satanic artwork. Post 3381, Q says, example, Joe Biden, Vice President of the United States, follow the family, corruption in D.C. with an arrow pointing to how to get rich. Are liberals willfully blind? Or gives us a link to Washington Examiner, $1.5 billion contract in Iraq for Biden's little brother exposes Obama ahead of debate. Biden's brother $1.5 billion contract in Iraq. Coming from the New York Post, it says the troubling reason why Biden is so soft on China. Biden's son, $1.5 billion deal with China. Coincidence? Drain the swamp. And yes, there are investigations going on with Biden right now. In the previous report, we reported that John Solomon now is suing the State Department to get information on Biden and Hunter Biden. Post 3382 gives us a meme. It's Trump, and it says, my turn, all caps. And Q says, sweet dreams. Post 3383 gives us a link to an older post. It says U.S. taxpayers are paying for it all. Paris Accord, scam trillions. Red Cross equals scam trillions. Foreign aid equals scam trillions. War equals scam trillions. On and on. Who audits where the money actually goes? Who actually receives the money? The U.S. taxpayer is funding the very people we are engaged in taking down. Slush funds everywhere. Think GS pays for Antifa out of his own pocket. The hole is deep. Feel sick yet? Then gives us a link to Sarah Carter. Where is our money in 2015? At Barack Obama, at Joe Biden, gave Equatorial Guinea $4.4 million in U.S. aid in 2016. Hashtag Swiss government seized 25 supercars valued at $13 million belonging to the son of President of EG. He is facing charges of corruption and money laundering. Q says, imagine what would happen if by law every congressman, woman, U.S. senator, president was by U.S. law audited every 1 to 2 years by an independent agency. Imagine what would happen if those audits extended to all family members of such elected officials. Would these continue to push for foreign aid to other seas versus the homeland? What happens when the kickbacks dry up? M. Waters, $4 million house. Nancy Pelosi, net worth $150 million plus. Joe Biden's son brother, net worth tens of millions. Clinton family, $200 million. Obama family, $40 million. Disguised under book deals. Now let's take a look at what they were worth before they came into office. Clinton, they were worth less than $1 million. Obama was worth less than $1 million. Where did they get all this money working for the government? Think about it for a second. Q says those who take are offered more powerful positions within the party, controlled. Drain the swamp, Q. Post 3384. Tom Steyer is not sleeping well these days. Attack a political opponent will not work. Justice is no longer blind to those with billions. Remember, he threw his hat into the presidential ring thinking he's going to be safe because Epstein was arrested and a lot of information is going to be coming out from all the sealed documents, indictments, and everything else. And as a coincidence, he decided to run for president. This is the individual that wants Trump impeached. But it looks like he is not safe whatsoever. Post 3385. You don't think the Epstein investigation began a few months ago, did you? It was all under the direction and oversight of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Expect a lot more to become public. Unsealing. A lot more is coming out. Post 3386 gave us everything from 3385 and says, Barr not recused from Epstein pending cases only passed. D, and this is in brackets and bold and caps, fight coming. Liberal outrage coming. Pelosi's daughter inserted. Counter made. Simple. Post 3387 gave us the YouTube link to Trump before he was elected president. And this whole video was telling us how Trump and the Patriots were going to drain the swamp. And Q says, listen very carefully again. Note past 2 years. Note next 6 years. You were told what was going to happen. You were told what battles we face. Strategic, pre-planned, Patriots in control. Post 3388. This is a link to Sarah Carter, a tweet, and it says Michael Flynn was forced to file his FARA registration in February 2017 under extreme and unprecedented pressure from extensive interactions with the National Security Division, including then NSD head David Loffman. Q says there is a big direct reason why Flynn's new attorney is seeking security clearance. And Sidney Powell is breaking this all down and going after all of this because Flynn was spied on. And she's going to break this wide open. It has just begun for Flynn. Post 3389. Q says, Attorney General and Rogers meeting. Durham and Rogers meetings. Why did Rogers retire? Why did Rogers visit POTUS at Trump Tower without authorization shortly after a skiff was installed to tell POTUS that he's being spied on and that Trump Tower is bugged? Why did select former ABC directors call for the removal of Rogers? Because he was giving this information. Why did POTUS move his transaction command center base of ops from Trump Tower the very next day? Because the whole entire office was bugged. Post 3390. Q gives us a link to the New York Times. The title says Michael Flynn changes his story, putting him on collision course with a judge. Now, of course, the New York Times is trying to get ahead of the story and projecting, and you can see there's a lot of stories coming out on Flynn, and Q says so much Flynn news today because Sidney Powell is getting to the bottom of this, ripping everything that they've done in the past completely apart, and she's exposing it all. Post 3391. Q gives us post 2611. Is JFK Jr. alive? And Anon asked this question. Q says no. Q says when the fake news can't attack you directly using facts. Q. Post 3392 gives us a link to CBS News. And this says Democratic donor Ed Buck accused of human trafficking and revenge porn after a man dies in his home. The article says prominent political activist Ed Buck is facing new legal troubles as the author of A Man Who Died in His Home has filed an amended civil suit accusing Buck of human trafficking and engaging in revenge porn. Q says the hunters become the hunted. It is all turning right now, and they're all being exposed. Post 3393 now. I put this post in the economic report, which is Report A, and this has to do with the gold standard. And Q gives us a post 2619, and Anon says, do we have the gold? Q says, yes, gold shall destroy the Fed. Then gives us a news article for the current post, and it shows that Trump is picking Judy Shelton, and she is pushing the gold standard. As you can see, the plan is draining the swamp, removing the blocks, getting rid of the central bank, and going back to sound money. Q is letting us know that all of this now is coming together. The Patriots are in control. It is happening, and now everything has been accelerated, and we're going to see a lot happen come August. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.